Hello, everyone. Angelo here, Hollywood filmmaker. As many of you know, I moved into my car in October 2018, October 31st, so actually more like November 2018. I did it because I wanted to be a filmmaker, and for me, it was the way to go about it. I had my socks all lined up in a row. I was tired of just working my night job as a bouncer and not being able to make much money to get ahead, not being able to change my routine at all because I couldn't afford to go out. I was stuck working nights. I couldn't make my own video shoots the way I wanted, and I was paying so much in rent. I was constantly going broke. I was basically isolated for like 5 years while I was working as a bouncer, just absolutely miserable, thinking, how am I going to get out of this situation? Making YouTube videos almost every day for years, and it was going well, but still nowhere near what I wanted. It wasn't getting me to where I wanted to go, and I realized I was just stagnating, and it was just sad and lonely. One of the things I did that got me thinking I got to move into my car was I read Ron Perlman, the actor, his autobiography Easy Street the Hard Way, and he has a few pages in there towards the end about wanting artists to be risk takers and wanting people to take risks and say things. And if the time I read it, I was thinking, oh, it's kind of, I don't know if it's too, aspirational or whatever, but it also resonated with me. I'm like, I know I need to do something like this. And so it wasn't just to save money, which I had to do, and it wasn't just because I was going broke, which I was, but it was also, it's like I needed to. I needed to push myself to see if I could do this, and I needed to do something different. I needed to be more active. I was way too inert in many ways. I was just stuck doing the same thing, wondering why I'm miserable all the time, trying to push myself in all the ways I knew how, but I didn't know how much further I could push myself. So I moved into my car, lived in it for 6 months in Virginia. After a while, I realized I should move to LA. That's the short version of it. And I was filming through this whole time, so you can look back and look at all those videos from, I guess, the day I moved into my car, and often filming every day until I got the place I'm living in now in Hollywood. So it was 2.5 years I lived in my car. And it's funny, a lot of people were supportive, a lot of people weren't. That's fine. Looks kind of foolish to say, like, to sort of confess your own character like that by saying, like, it's just not going to work, Angelo. The poor things that they want, it like it wants something when it's poor. I don't know if they're called people or what those things are, but they don't get things that they want. You're all such bootlickers. You got Elon Musk's boots rammed down your throat. Praising rich people like they're going to do something for you just because you do that. They won't. They give you a nice little like shiny toy and get you all excited about that and do nothing. But anyways, so that was funny. It's like, why would you say something that may be no good, like that your word may be no good for? Like, oh, Angela, you can't do it. You should go home. You can't do this. By the way, I'm not saying I've succeeded or I've done anything yet, but throughout this whole process, I was just really dedicated to everything about, living well in my car, even though I was dead broke, getting up early, working out, focusing on my writing, through everything, through a relapse of my dissociative disorder. That was the hardest part. Through my dad's death, through the pandemic. All three of those things came within a few months of each other. And another thing, which was somebody crashed into my car on October 13th, 2019, while I was sleeping in it and destroyed it. And I was hurt. I went to the hospital. I was bruised up. I didn't have any broken bones. You can see videos of the immediate aftermath of that too. I had the presence of mind to film the aftermath of that, like moments after the car crash. I almost thought about live streaming that night when I was sleeping. That would have been something. But anyways, so I'm getting to, how did I get this $6,245.55 that I deposited? I got out of the hospital after my car crash, and I went to the food bank, and I was limping at the food bank. So not only my ribs were bruised, but my left leg, yeah, it was bruised. And so I was limping. People at the food bank knew me. This one guy, really nice guy there, Martin. He said, Angelo, you know what? Hey, so what's up with your leg? And I said, oh, I was in a car crash. You know, my car was destroyed. It was a hit and run, and they admitted fault the next day. But he's like, Angelo, you got to get a lawyer. You got some money coming to you. I'm like, really? How's that work? I felt bad about the idea of trying to get money from it because I didn't know how that would work. Would I have to sue them or what? And he's like, no, trust me. He's like, you have to get. I'm doing a little bit of his voice. It was funny. He was a really, really nice guy, and for doing this. And he said, no, you got to get a lawyer. So I looked up a lawyer around the area for car crashes. Went to his office, met with him and one of the other lawyers who worked with him. Went over the info. One thing I always remember, it was funny. I tried to dress a little bit nice. I couldn't dress that nice, but I'm dressed kind of probably like I am now, in a t-shirt and jeans. And I said, I live in my car. I'm homeless. And he said something like, "Oh, it's funny. You don't seem like a guy who lives in his car." I wasn't offended, but I recognized what he meant. He's like, people who live in their cars must seem like, oh, they're really rough living, or they've just really been worn out and stuff by life. But I was just doing my thing and just ended up in this situation. And so they started working on getting me compensation, getting a settlement. So that kind of answers the question how I made this $6,200 in one day. It's been 2 years, almost 2 years. But that's not really the answer. It is, but here's the thing. I mentioned the haters, and I don't even like calling them, but whatever. It's good for a thumbnail. This money, I saw the check yesterday. I checked my mail. Doesn't make me any better of a person. Doesn't make me any different. It does make my life better, but actually when I got it, I felt a little depressed. I'm like, great, more stuff to manage. And that just shows how your perspective changes when you get more money. It's just, hey, it's a good thing that this is just something I can work with, and that's it. So it's kind of amazing that bootlickers are just so reverential of rich people. When I'm like, okay, well, here I am, and you see my bank balance at the bottom of that before the deposit goes through, and I have another bank account with more money in it. I'm not any better of a person. I'm not any less stressed out. I'm not any healthier, stronger, faster, whatever. Unless I work for what I have that particular day, it's not there. But anyways, all I'm doing with this now, I was like, wow, I'm actually kind of around my goal where I wanted to, when I thought I'd be ready to spend money on some film gear and a new laptop and stuff. And I'm like, well, I shouldn't even do that yet, because this isn't really security, especially in LA. It's so expensive, but I can't even really say, especially in LA, in large parts of the country, and not just big cities like whatever, LA, New York Cities, Manhattan, DC, definitely that whole area where I'm from. I'm from Northern Virginia, so Arlington, but it's a suburb. It's considered that of DC. It's like right there, right by it. Wherever else you can think of, Atlanta, I'm sure, Portland, Miami, so many other places you wouldn't even necessarily suspect it's really expensive to live in, I'm sure, because that's the way it's going. But I got that, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna try and save even more now, and just keep at what I'm doing. And while I'm dealing with roommates who don't, it's funny, I talked to one roommate I thought was messing with the bathroom. He's like, no, that wasn't me. I said, oh, okay, interesting, so that's somebody else. So okay, I'll talk to that person and try and sort this out. But in the meantime, just trying to overlook it, because what's the point? I'm doing fine. And I don't just mean financially. I don't even mean financially. I mean, I'm doing fine. So I just cleaned up the place, and even though I'm cleaning up other people's mess, it's like in my head I just make myself think, well, this is my mess. I just do it as if it's my own place, and I'm not worried about them, because I just want to have a clean place to live, even though some people fucking trash it and leave all kinds of weird greases and stains and stuff in the kitchen, and weird rotted food on the floor. Just act like it's my place, so I have something kind of civilized. And when I decide I'm ready and have enough saved up, I'll want to move into a studio apartment of my own. Probably. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll decide, oh, I should get some film gear and go shoot a music video or something. I'm so busy with my job, and I'm so busy with screenwriting. I'm taking these screenwriting classes, and I have assignments for them pretty much every week. And I take them really seriously. Like, I want to push myself as hard as I can to get the most out of them. I don't want to just, kind of get through the class without trying, without completing all these, and without applying myself and being cognizant of what's going on and trying to learn the most from it. Because that's the point of the class. It's not just to show something to our teacher and hopefully the teacher says something nice about what we write. In fact, I'd be much more worried if that was the case. Instead, what I want is just to hear honesty. I want to hear the truth. Like, what are my problems? What am I not doing right? What are obvious things I need to work on? And not obvious things. Sock organization aside, the washing machine in my building broke, and so the socks were like sitting in water, and I didn't feel like putting them through the other washing machine, which would dry them out better. So I just put them in a dryer on high, and for 45 minutes, and they're still kind of wet. So I'm just letting them. I got some more over here hanging up. So I'm trying to let them dry out all the way. So here's what I was getting at. The story of how I made this 6200 is not really just because of the car crash. And by the way, that could have easily gone either way. That could have ended horribly and just been the end, or any number of ways. Or I could not have gotten the settlement. By the way, that is not the settlement I thought I was getting. I actually thought I was going to get a much smaller number based on what my lawyers told me. And they did get, a large portion of it, and then a large portion went to the chiropractor I went to, and I don't know, whatever other fees. So this is what was left over that I got. But I was expecting much less initially. Which I was fine with too. I'm like, oh, okay, at least I got an answer. But for the most part, I didn't even check. I didn't even check with my lawyers for years, unless I had something I needed to tell them, like, here's another bill I have related to this. Because there was nothing to check on. I know they're working on it. I know they certainly want their money because they paid the doctor's bills in the first place. And it was a pretty open and shut case. It was going to be, they admitted fault. It was a hit and run. I was obviously not at fault. So it's not that, I was like, anybody should try and live this way in their car and, expect to earn money from a settlement like this. You should not. Believe me, it was, it was a intense experience. And it, like I said, it could have gone so much worse. It's that, and it didn't have to work this way. And here's the thing, if it didn't work this way, that would have been fine too. I didn't have to get this job I got. I could have ended up with something else. But all the steps I took while I was in Virginia, thinking about moving into my car, then quitting my job, then moving to LA, all that stuff, and just somehow trying to keep it. This is not a reward for what I did, this money. I don't look at it that way. I just look at it as, okay, it can be an asset or a liability. I'll just try and use, my character and what I know and just make it work. Meaning, just save it for now. I'm still eating canned food from the food bank for the most part. I did pig out a little this weekend. I gotta restrict my diet again. I gotta learn a proper meal plan. I've been starving myself so much, and this weekend I just kind of ate more. And anyways, just gotta accept that. I did that. I saw Jules and Jim last night. Loved it. What an incredible movie. It was a Francois Truffaut film. I thought I mixed it up with Federico Fellini, but Francois Truffaut, I already know I love his films. First one I've seen of his, I loved it. It was amazing. Saw it on a 35 millimeter print. So funny, so interesting, and just so, the humanity in it was really great. Cast was great, everything. Anyways, I don't know how to get it out exactly. I'm just saying it's there. I accept it. It's part of the, everything I went through, living in my car, and up to the point where, I am where I am now. I'm saving money. I'm not stressing about, oh, I got this money, I got to spend it on something. Everything I ended up doing where I was in my car through the pandemic and eventually getting that warehouse job and being fed up with the warehouse job and showering at this mission and just on a blind chance, I did not think they would find me any job I wanted. I thought if this is the job I could get now, any other job I get is probably going to be just as bad as getting up at sometimes 1:30 in the morning or 1 in the morning to shower on the street, like not freezing cold, but very cold. And eventually I started showering in the afternoon at the mission, and going to this warehouse where I was, worked so hard. And so at this mission I started asking about job opportunities, and they told me about this temp agency, and I signed up there. I applied to the job that I have now, and thinking like, oh, I'm not even qualified for this. There's a good chance I shouldn't even apply, and if I interview, I'll just waste their time, because I'm not qualified. And thinking, okay, well, I'll just try it. And then looking for a bunch of other jobs and finally hearing back from that one, and then being at the point where I was ready to go through with it, where I was able to get the clothes I needed thanks to the mission. They gave me job interview clothes because I couldn't iron my clothes. And at the same time, I was going through so much other stuff, but having to find places where I could do the video interview so that I didn't look homeless, and which would make me look unstable and like a bad choice. And everything I learned about, how to go through my day and talk to people, and that probably helped me through I'm sure that helped me through the interview a lot, because I didn't have the skills for this job. You have to learn it anyways. But they told me after that I got the job, it was really close between me and one other person, and there were two people who were responsible for hiring me, and one of them supposedly said that, like, gave me the slight edge. And that would not have been possible if I was in my own head and so negative and stuff, and just stuck in my house, thinking like, I just can't do anything else. I just got to make a YouTube video that'll get popular. And sometimes I did make them that got popular, but I knew I had to do something different. I wasn't pushing myself enough. I wasn't doing enough. And I didn't know, I still don't know, where this can go. I don't even like thinking about that. My only thing I'm trying to do is just every day do stuff that, I need to do to be well, to get up early, work out. I didn't work out today. I cleaned the apartment, but I'm going to work out, right? And just not let myself get too negative and depressed, because that is the worst. When I spin out into, it is the easiest thing to go from thinking, man, things are going so well. I've got my health. I'm in relatively good shape. I got this apartment. I'm making decent money. The settlement money aside for the car crash, it's still making decent money, saving money in LA, in a place I love, like, in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, where I live. I literally live in Hollywood. All that stuff. It's so easy to switch from that and a good job to, it's not just the money, it's a good job, I like it, to instantly switching to the most negative, just hating everything, hating the walls around me, just thinking everything's horrible, like not wanting to be around anybody. And it's so easy for that to flip for me if I don't keep on the things that I know are going to help me and push myself, and try and seek out my weaknesses, not just do the things I know I do well, but seek out, okay, I'm bad at something, I'm bad at this thing, I got to go after it. Whatever it is, sometimes it's just, staying disciplined and going out. And when I just want to keep to myself and do nothing, going out to see Jules and Jim last night, I almost had to push myself a little bit. I'm like, well, I'm going to be tired when I come back, and I kind of don't feel like talking to people. I ended up talking to several people there and had a good time talking to them, and had no expectation talking to them. I just wanted to talk. The people sitting next to me, I didn't go up to everybody and talk to them, but I just made it a point to say, hey, what's your name? How's it going? Or I heard some guys talking about some interesting news story, some video that was on the news. I say, hey, I heard about that, and asked them about it. So anyways, but that could all flip in 20 minutes after I end this video and think, man, I feel terrible again. So I can't use anything to sustain myself. But anyways, what I'm getting at is it's a very fixed mindset, and I can slip into this, and I used to have this horribly of myself judging poor people or whatever the case, people who are I view as like deserving their situation in life, and it to me it's a confession of character when you do that, because here's the thing, like now I've seen the flip side. Even though I'm not like rich, or I am rich in a way, but I'm not like filthy rich like whatever a billionaire. I see what it's like, the difference now, and now I know, like, so whereas you can't say, oh, it's just I'm jealous of rich people. My when I drink my brother's breast milk, when I drink my mother's breast milk, Angelo, the protein strands reach my brain, and I achieve the thoughts that tell me that poor people do not deserve housing and good jobs, and they should not ever talk about the situation because it upsets me greatly. When I turn 22 in 3 weeks, I will have achieved such great wisdom. The energy that sustains my lungs from my mother's breast milk is leaving me. I must get more breast milk. But Angelo, you're poor. That means you can't do anything in life. You have to. Whatever. Keep thinking that. Hey, let me know in the comments, by all means. I don't care. That's the other thing. It's not even making me feel anything. It's just such a confession of character to show that fixed mindset. Like, oh, you're going to be trapped. You're going to be stuck. And then when I'm not, it's like some of those people are like the first ones to act like they're my friend. You're not my friend. Like, if you treated me like that, you're showing the lack of humanity you regard with everyone else. Forget me. I don't care about me. I'm fine. I was fine without you. I'm fine either way. I'm not even thinking about it. I know there's people who are watching who will appreciate this message, and it'll be like, oh, like they have a dream they want to go after too, and they want to do it. It has nothing to do with the money. The money is a good result. It helps to survive, and it doesn't need to be this. Anyway, I won't get into it because I'll dissociate. I really can't deal with that right now. If I start talking with too lofty ideas about, what it's like to, like how it's so difficult to survive for a lot of people. But anyways, haters, keep chugging your mother's I keep saying brother, your mother's breast milk well into your late 30s. For the rest of you, like, that's how I did it. Basically, to me, it wasn't about just the car crash or anything. It was about maintaining character. Not that that's why I got it. I could have easily gotten this money and not trying to maintain character and just be miserable as shit getting this money and be like, well, fuck, I still got all these problems. 6,000 isn't really enough to change my life. So, I still got all these other issues I'm thinking about and the stress that weighs on me every day. But the fact that, I'm trying to get through all that means it's not such a burden, that it is something that, like, it's like, okay, I just move on. Don't even think about it. There's 6,000 today. It could be gone tomorrow, or I could make more. I'm not even thinking about it. The second I start thinking about that, I will be absolutely miserable. And so it's like a delicate thing to be able to, accept that, sort of keep it balanced in perspective, and just move on from it, not even worry about it. And like I said, doesn't even make me a better person. So I've now seen the other side of it in a way. Having more money, it hasn't made me a better person, doesn't mean I'm any more deserving of anything, doesn't mean it couldn't be gone within, a day. Doesn't mean anything like that. And it certainly doesn't mean I have any more ability than I did before or anything like that. Just it means, okay, I took notice of it, I'm going to keep going. So anyways, so I guess, for other people who are trying to achieve something or do something with their life, you may have no idea how to go about getting to it. But the fact that you don't have an idea and you want to figure out how do you get an idea of approaching this thing, whatever it is, could be movies, could be something with computers, could be whatever, I don't know. um, that means you're thinking about it, and that's how I had to start, and I'm still starting. Like, but it means you're at least figuring out. Okay, you're learning how to figure out what you're doing, and when you do that, there are going to be people who I don't even like talking. It's more than I ever think about them normally, but it is funny to throw this in their faces. But other than that, doesn't matter. Don't even do anything negative to those people. Just move along, you know, and they'll do their thing. No big deal. They're always there, but they're always not there in a way. So, anyways, I'm going to keep going. I actually bought a bunch of note cards that I'm going to work on an assignment for my screenwriting class from the dollar store. I'm going to work out some. Let these dry out. I need to use moisturizer. And thanks for watching.